Okay, well, uh, we're back now. This is the next episode of the Movie Group Chat podcast. Uh, for everybody that we've been talking about a producer. We've been talking about a guy that is like, has a real job, that of doing the things that we want to do and sometimes do, and he consistently does this every single day because it is his job. He's here. So without further ado, we want to introduce everybody to Aaron Brick, who also picked the movie for us this week. Aaron, welcome, the producer. We love having you.
Aaron.
You might not be here all the time.
The real
I'm giving the Benicio del Toro clap. The Benicio del Toro con clap.
Actually, Justin, we could, if it's Benicio, we could just do everything with a look.
Or the handshake in Sicario.
Do everything with a look. Brick might not be here all the time, but he's here now, and we're grateful for him. Brick, say what's up to the people, let them know, and then we can get kind of started with what your movie was.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. Finally, I know I missed the first three, four.
You think you're better than us?
I want the record to reflect, though, that before this was a podcast that we're doing here, we used to do this on our own just for the fun of it for 3 years.
3 years.
And
COVID.
there may have been some reschedules, but I didn't miss any.
Nobody. You want a cookie? Like
Threatening nobody.
No, I'm happy to know. I'm rewatching that, and I just saw that episode again.
Entourage is so great. I mean, we talk about movies on this one, but Entourage, we could do a whole podcast just about.
You know what's funny? I was just watching a podcast with Nate Bargatze was the guest, and he was talking about how everything he knows about movies he got from Entourage. And then he gets on set of his first movie, and he said it's like, Entourage really was like his homework, and and then ironically enough, Mandy Moore was his guest star, so he thought that was pretty funny.
And you know what? It's crazy because we haven't done it yet on our episodes, but we should thank Entourage for solidifying the four of us together, because that's kind of the DNA of this group.
Doug Ellen,
right?
Hopefully he'll be a guest one day on here.
I will say,
yeah, in the basement.
Some of the best memories I have of high school were definitely senior year, and I think that was the year we were all pretty much on the Entourage train. So this would have been 2007. We would go. We all had early release senior year, and then 9 out of every 10 days we ended up at Corey's house.
Corey Jackson, rest in peace.
Corey Jackson's house, watching Entourage.
We got the DVDs, and we would go to Taco Bell or wherever, Sonic, and then we would watch before basketball practice or whatever. So those are some cherished memories.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Rest in peace, Corey
here.
Jackson, an absolutely amazing legend for introducing him. I mean, I saw Entourage before that, but I really started to immerse myself into Entourage those days too, Brick. Like, I remember getting Porter subs or Sonic or something like that, and then going over there, and we would watch 5 episodes, just plowing through.
And what's crazy about that is because I think it was the fact that we didn't own the DVDs yet, so we had to go to Planet Hollywood and not Blockbuster, because Blockbuster didn't have it, and we had to go to Planet Hollywood and rent the DVDs, and we couldn't rent the seasons at a time, so we were stuck at if we were done with 5 episodes, we were stuck until we could get the other DVDs.
Hollywood Video.
Sorry, not playing Hollywood. Thank you, Chet. But what's crazy is, to me, back then, getting to watch 5 episodes felt like an eternity. And now, as sad as it may be, or as exciting as it may be, as a 36-year-old man, I'll crack out 5 episodes tonight. You know what I mean? It's just it's really funny how the buildup was, and I think that adds to the allure in my head when I look back on it.
And taking that a step further, Corey Jackson also was the first person I knew that had all of the Chappelle Show tape DVDs. And when we would go on basketball trips in the van with the Rebels to Vegas, he had one of these DVD players that had a screen that popped up, this tiny little screen.
Yeah, the portables.
The portables. It was the size of just barely bigger than our phone now.
I had one too, yeah.
And we would watch the Chappelle Show on something like this, in the middle of the and it would probably only last 2 episodes before the battery ran out. And and you just like he'd pack like double A's with him like everywhere we went, so he could like keep putting it back in. So yeah, that's a
Dude.
crazy memory.
Yeah,
He was
I actually remember borrowing Chappelle's show from Corey.
he was a cool cat.
Yeah,
That's
rest
right.
in peace.
Yeah. Rest
Speaking
in
of cool
peace,
cats,
Corey.
Glen
But
Powell.
now we need to talk about this movie
Okay,
break. So
this is my first episode, and I understand the rules and the guidelines have changed. So from my understanding, this is the movie I selected for this week. You guys all watched it, and we're going to talk about it. And I have a few questions to give the group about the movie. Am I right? Am I wrong?
Yes.
All right,
We'll
so we
find
just go straight into it, or do I get your thoughts? Do I give a synopsis?
well,
Introduce
Synopsis.
the
yeah,
movie first.
tell
I
us a
think.
little bit about the film.
Oh, okay. All right. So I chose How to Make a Killing. It came out in, I think, February of this year. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I don't know how you guys feel about it just yet. I saw it twice. I don't know what it was about it, but it's just like, dude, I thought that Glen Powell was just so charismatic and so intriguing. He made me want to root for him, despite the fact that he's literally murdering people. I think it's funny because a well done movie, in my opinion, you can get on the side of the bad guy and you're rooting for him. And so, like in Ocean's 11, the robbers are the heroes, and so you're rooting for them to knock over a casino. In this movie, our hero is a murderer, and he was killing people to move up the line in his inheritance. So not that maybe he's justified, maybe he's not. I don't know. But he's just so damn good in this role. Like you can't take your eyes off him. Like we joke about whatever it is, he's got it. The dude's a movie star. So it's like
If you can feel it, chase it, baby.
yeah, I mean, like that's I will watch him like okay, so I think everyone knows my favorite actor is Brad Pitt. I will watch him in anything. So Glen Powell is quickly becoming that to me. Like I will watch this guy in anything. He's entertaining to me. So a little aside, I did meet him in Nashville, and I told him how much I liked the movie, and he was very
That
very
Glen
cool. He was
Powell's a
cool.
big star. I'll
He's a
go
cool
see
dude.
anything he said, even if it's a big piece of
He
shit.
was a big piece of shit. Yeah. So the movie's about a kid who is he is the son of a daughter of the daughter who's been disinherited from a mega wealthy family somewhere in New York, and he figures out his lineage throughout his life and what is supposed to be his, what his mother tells him is supposed to be his, and then he kind of gets to a point in his life and as he grows up and he realizes that he's not going to get ahead in line and get the inheritance he feels is his unless he does something about it. And so he goes on a pretty fun ride of moving his way up the line. And I gotta say, I loved how the movie progressed. I thought it was engaging. I didn't think it was too long or too short. I thought it kept my attention. I thought it had the appropriate amount of humor, dark humor. The cast. A lot of people don't talk about the cast. I could have done with so much longer. Each like Topher Grace is in it for 5 minutes. I could have done 25 more minutes with him. Margaret Qualley, however you say her last name.
I think Quali.
Qualley.
Quale.
Are you serious?
It's Quali. I'm pretty sure it's
No.
Quali.
It's Quale.
I could have taken.
trust myself.
I thought she was.
trust
I thought she
myself.
was.
It's Quali.
I thought she was woefully underused. She was great. She stole the scenes that she was in. But yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think I've expressed that, and I'm very curious what you guys thought because to me, this was a movie that I felt was slept on. Not a lot of people are talking about it. I don't know how it did at the box office, but
Not good.
that's unfortunate. But
It got pushed. So not to cut you off, Brick, but that little kernel there is everyone was saying it was gonna be really bad because A24 just kind of like poo-pooed it in a weird month and never really marketed it.
If I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, it kind of got dunked on by Wuthering Heights.
Yeah.
It sucks.
It was like a February release, if I'm not
Yeah, it was definitely a
mistaken.
February release. Well, it's one of those movies that I think people are gonna stumble upon on HBO Max or Netflix, wherever it ends up and wherever it's at. I feel like people, will gradually stumble upon it in like 10 years, and especially as bigger as as Glen Powell continues to grow and get bigger and bigger and more famous, people are going to say, "Oh, this is a Glen Powell movie," and they're going to stream. I think people will look back fondly on it. But I was thoroughly entertained.
All right.
Fantastic. What
First
kind
question.
Rick, what kind of questions do you have for us about what the thing that you made us
What
watch?
is this attitude, Chet? Like, what is this? What is this attitude that you have about?
I felt there was a space for a villain, and I feel like I needed to take it, and I don't really.
Is it because Turkey's at home and the U.S. is moving forward in the World Cup? Is that why? Even though you beat us, but
Yeah,
is that
I'll
really
just
what it
Doesn't
is?
matter.
I'll just say, you know what? We'll just do it here. Well, I'll just switch my hat to Turkey is here because it is, and it always will be. And I just want to say, Kırmızı Beyaz Arda Güler Çalhanoğlu, and let's go. Anyway, to how to make a killing. I'm excited to talk about it. What's your first question, Brick?
Here's a question in two parts. No, I have questions.
No,
but
that was
I
a
want,
statement. This is a question.
this is the question.
In two parts. No, that was more of a statement than a question in two parts.
I have questions, and I want to get to the questions, and I may exceed 3, but I want to get a discussion going. So I'm trying to think of a question that is free range for you guys to talk and tell me what you thought of the movie. So I'm going to ask a broad question, and it's going to be one you're not going to see coming. What did you think of the movie?
Who do you want to go first?
Just
I'll go
go
first.
for it.
I'll go first. First, was super glad you picked it because I go see a ton of movies in theaters, and this was on my list, but I never got to see it for whatever reason. So I was actually super stoked when you picked it because me and Brick share a love of one, Glen Powell. I liked this movie. I want to be clear and make that statement first. I feel like the eat the rich genre has kind of been a trend right now, low key. When you talk about like Parasite, Saltburn, No Other Choice, and I love the eat the rich genre. It's very timely. I did honestly feel like the middle of this movie was stumbling a little bit, but I loved the end so much. I thought the ending really elevated because I loved the beginning. I was a little iffy on the middle, but then the end really brought it back up for me. I thought they stuck the landing fantastically.
The end for me made the whole movie.
Agreed.
And I told
it
Glen,
really
I told
elevated
Glen
it.
Powell, I told Glen Powell that I said that you guys could have gone a few different directions. The end for me made the movie. He gets away with it, and
Yeah,
I was
I was surprised, which I very rarely get surprised by the end of a film. I thought it was going to go one way, and I was so much happier it didn't go the way I think it was going to go.
I thought for a minute they were going to kill him, and I would have been okay with it from like a he got it coming sort of way. But
'Cause it's in the name.
Loved what?
I thought even
killing
worse.
is the name.
I thought he was gonna get back with his old girl and go back to being broke, which is terrible propaganda. Because I love when he said, "Let's be adults here. Being rich does buy happiness," and that's just what I went. But when they doubled down on that, I was like, yeah.
And as someone who thoroughly enjoyed this movie, and then the ending made it for me, I will say because of the way it ended, I would gladly watch a sequel because their dysfunctional relationship is down to produce some laughs and some controversy and some crazy scenarios of them trying to kill each other, I'm sure.
Right. Yeah. I thought it was funny. I thought Zach Woods murdered his scenes.
He's
pun intended.
I love
Zach Woods was fantastic. Me and Brick, actually, I was telling Jeremy this story. Me and Brick had an opportunity to see Zach Woods pretty early on in his career at improv, and he was a standout at UCB when we went to that UCB Sunday show that they always do. And so, seeing him now, I'm like, yeah, this guy has always had skills. And I told Jeremy, I thought as fantastic as I thought Glen Powell was, my man, Glen Powell, I agree. I actually think Margot Qualley stole the movie for me. I thought that was my favorite performance. I was teasing Jeremy about what my favorite performance was. It was Margaret. I thought she killed every single scene that she was in. So overall, I really did enjoy this film.
I was expecting to see more of her, and I felt like I said underused earlier. Maybe it wasn't underused, but what she was given to work with and what was in the final product, she was great.
I guess I'll go next. I thought it was okay.
Really?
I think Brick, Jeremy. I can't say it's okay.
Liked it. I thought you would have liked this movie.
So Brick said it perfectly. I actually didn't know how to articulate it until you said the word. It progressed in that, like, the beginning felt, it lost me with what it was doing with the voiceover. And it's like, it was like, okay, so you're talking to the,
do you guys like a voiceover or hate a voiceover? Because I feel like there's mixed emotions on a voiceover.
I thought they relied on. I'm with Chet.
I think if it makes
they used it a little
what
too
you're
much.
doing, then if it's a great tool that you're using and it doesn't impact the takeaway from the overall narrative or even just the scene, then I don't have a hatred towards it or against it. If it makes sense and it works, it works. It doesn't really.
So to me, it did not work. And I'll tell you. Wait,
I'm not an absolutist.
Why.
It was just a little too much for me. I'm slightly with Chet.
Well, so I'll tell you why. This is why it didn't work. Is that it starts off as the priest, and that is what we'll call the Forrest Gump template. Is that you're talking to someone and then that voiceover leads you into the thing. Well, what this also did was once we're in the thing that he's talking about in the flashback, then the voiceover becomes the POV of the thing that he's, that we're seeing. So then he's talking to us as the audience directly and we're in his head. And so basically it's like going back and forth between tenses, and maybe I'm hyper aware of that because I'm trying to figure out how to balance that into something that I'm trying to make right now.
That's why I like a voiceover, because I have an internal dialogue in my head, and when I have the character giving me a VO, I feel like we're having not a conversation, but I'm getting the answers I'm literally asking in my head he's saying to me at some point in time.
I agree. And I like I mean, it's one of my favorite things too, right? Like some of my favorite movies, like The Sandlot. I think they do that brilliantly, but you have to choose a point of view and who you're talking to if you're in the voiceover. The voiceover is literally giving all the exposition as well as talking to the priest. And it's like, half a part of the reason, like, I was like, why do I give a shit that he's talking to the priest? And then as soon as I said that question, it was like, I looked at, I think it was 20 minutes in. That is when the Zach Woods showed up. And when Zach Woods showed up, I was like, all right, I'm buckling in, because a friend of mine, Andy Buckley, works with him on a couple of shows. And he said that guy is funnier in person because everything he does is like, he'll do a take that with the script and he's like, they will just let him go with improv. And he's like, in person,
you'll cry laughing at his Office outtakes.
Yeah. And that's what Andy was saying, because Andy worked in the Office. He's like, this guy's underrated. And so when Andy told me that, whenever I see him, I'm like, oh, I want to like pay attention to what's going on here. And I just want to say a couple of the lines that he said. Here are the couple of the standouts.
I know one.
She saw Cardi B naked once. Are you guys having a virgin off? I can't remember the other one, but like,
oh, you forgot the best one when he signed the autograph White Basquiat. I threw my remote. I was like, no,
White
he did
Basquiat.
not just say. He's like to bagel from White Basquiat.
And he said, we're all just drunk white girls passed out at a party.
Yeah. We don't know what's going on. We're all just drunk white girls.
That's why I said, like, yeah, it's perfect. It progressed. And so it was a little bit of an exponential takeoff. But the structure of the voiceover bothered me quite a bit, especially when he goes to do the anchor killing. And he's like, now the voiceover's talking to himself. He's like, uh-oh, I don't know if I can do this. And I'm like, well, who the fuck are you talking to? So that was my main issue. However, when I say it progressed, it's very rare that I've found a movie that I've been so turned off by that I'm pretty much back on board by the end. That's like a hard thing to do. And like the other thing that bothered me was because I'm only saying that because I'm agreeing with you guys about the ending. I think it was really cool, but the tone itself, I understood what it was trying to do, but I felt like either the filmmaker, and this is a question for you guys, like either the filmmaker or Glen Powell was trying to make himself darker, especially in the beginning of like the turn to like, hey, I'm going to kill someone now. It was like the tone of the way that Glen Powell was speaking was like very charming and like, likable. But everything I was seeing felt like it was trying to be like a dour movie. And like that juxtaposition, it felt like it almost didn't know what it was trying to be in the beginning. And then Zach Woods kicked it into gear, and then it became a satire. So it didn't become a satire until I saw the people that he was killing. And then in the end, what I realized, and I think it was, is that this is, Justin, you said it, like revenge against the rich, eat the rich. But I think this is a subgenre called Millennial Revenge, because I saw another movie this year called Send Help that has the same feeling that I got from this, which is like, what was the line that he said? I work hard, I show up. Isn't that enough to deserve to be appreciated? That is the thesis of being a millennial, how we feel, I would say. And I think this movie feels like a catharsis that attempted to be a satire.
You know what's funny is I don't know if dawned on me is the right word. I never crossed my mind, I guess. I just wasn't looking at it this way of an Eat the Rich movie until someone said it. And I was like, oh, yeah, I guess it was, huh? I really honestly went in with I like the story of he's going to kill his family to advance himself into the inheritance. And the fact that he was okay with it and not really showing signs of remorse, like just showing signs of how do I get to the next one, and it became like a game. I thought was that I was more thinking of that and having fun on this dark comedy, dark humor sort of voyage we were on.
Yeah, I actually think that's
I never
real
really,
too.
yeah. I mean, like I never really thought
Yeah.
about it from that perspective of the Eat the Rich thing.
What do you think, Jerm?
I really like this movie. I thought, I mean, everything you guys have said that at least that you liked about it was interesting. Like, I agree with Brick. Like, I think Glen Powell was like sensational. What I love about it is like it challenges like what you expect to see. Like, here you have this guy that's incredibly charming. By all accounts, he should be successful and be able to carry himself just because of just how he is. And he's in these like odd, awkward positions in life. It was just a nice flip. Another thing that I think was a nice flip is like, I always look at the color palette of the film and the way like the colors really are helping tell the story. And the more the film was shot relatively cold, but very saturated at the same time. And highlighting of that, which helped with the storytelling that I thought was really interesting, is every time that there was a funeral scene, it was still very cold in the way it was shot, but it was extremely saturated. So the colors were like incredibly vibrant. Like your greens were really just like popping to kind of highlight, yes, this is a death, but this is also, he's winning. Like he's actually achieving what he wanted to achieve. And I think that what I took, what at least for me, when I saw that, I was like, this is such a cool way to kind of mirror the storytelling, where you create this vibrant moment that's surrounded around traditionally a tragic moment to kind of help balance out what the story is, really trying to convey. Is like, this guy's doing something incredibly bad, but kind of for a good reason. So it's kind
From
of
his
acceptable
perspective, it's a
from,
good
and
reason.
I think the story is always from his perspective, and like I never felt like, maybe you guys
Which is why
did
you get
with
on
what you were
board with
talking about.
him.
Right. The
And
narration didn't
we're
really
all
affect me, because
normal.
I always felt like, because so many other aspects of the storytelling were directly from his perspective, that I was like, this is clearly just from his perspective. And that was something that I thought was really interesting about the film, was just like the vibrance of that. But Glen Powell himself, this is a role that's like made for him, because it gets to take the best of what he is, which is, I think for me, with seeing the work that he's done, is like, he's incredibly charming, and he is somebody that can just like grab your attention. And he was able to put himself in a position, like, kind of where it was kind of weird feeling. It was like, you have this incredibly charming guy that's doing something incredibly horrible at the same time. It kept me engaged in trying to figure out him a little bit more. I think that is something that is it's an interesting way to keep people interested, because I was very interested in this film all the way through. And I think Zach Woods was, to me, he had the best scenes in the movie. With all the scenes that he was in, those are the best scenes in the movie. Ed Harris. I knew it was Ed Harris from the opening. I know they covered up his face.
100%.
I knew it was Ed Harris.
I
was like, this is Ed Harris. I could tell by his
the
voice.
Man in Black. I was like,
Yeah,
that is
like,
the Man in Black. 100%.
it's Ed Harris. The cast was, what I thought was really good. Those were the moments that I really think of, that really highlighted to me, that I really liked, that I think are just elements of storytelling that people don't really ever talk about, like, just like how you color it, how it's lit, to that also helps tell the story. And I think that that's something that I thought was really cool about this film. There's a lot that I liked about it, but I don't want to keep harping on all the things that you guys had already mentioned, because I think a lot of stuff that you liked, like, I kind of agree with. I would have thought, Chet, that you would have liked this film. I thought that you
Why
would
is
have,
that? Why would you say that?
because I feel like it is, in a way, kind of quirky, and I think you like quirky films, and like you like things like
And it's
that,
funny.
and
Yeah.
and it is
I could
funny.
funny and it's
Like,
quirky.
it's funny.
I did think you would like
Um,
it.
I thought,
I
was like,
I
Chet
can see
would
Chet
probably
playing this
like this film.
character.
That's why when you said that, I was
I
like,
could see
whoa.
Chet playing Noah, Zach Woods'
I
character.
can see Chet
Yes.
playing this. I can see Chet playing this character.
So thank you. I really appreciate you guys saying that. I think because it's cool to know that people know who I am, or like you guys know me well, because that is part of the reason why I think I'm harder on it, because it is my lane, right? Like, in terms of my taste in things that I like watching, and also, like, as a performer, like, this is the lane. And when I see it, when I see Lost Potential, and I see the balance in tone, like, to me, this movie has to work quickly. Like, if we're waiting until Zach Woods gets in 25 minutes in order for it to pick up, and it was like picking up after that. Like, Topher Grace was great, and like the Ed Harris scenes were so cool, and that was the first time I really felt the emotion of his mom. And it's like, if it didn't, it was dark, and then it became kind of funny, and then it was funny. So I'm very hard on a movie that doesn't execute, when I got really excited because of what I thought it could have been. But it did land the plane, and that is probably the hardest thing to do in movies in general. Like most movies, it's the opposite. It's really fun all the way through, and then they just, it shits the bed. But they did a great job, and the casting was great. Glen Powell. Does that answer your question of why I didn't like it? I know that's kind of a rambling answer.
Really, really disagree with you on the way you lay out the film. I agree partially that I did think they were having trouble orchestrating the tones. However,
Yeah.
I think the trouble came after Zach Woods, not before. I thought after Zach Woods, then we went to Topher, then they kind of were wobbling about, were we going to be funny or not? I thought it was building great up until that point, consistently, and then going from Topher, going from Zach Woods to Topher Grace's scene, and then I believe after that was the aunt. Then it started to get rushed, and then it felt like they were kind of not deciding if they were gonna go darker. And I think they lost some character work on his character in his path to turning dark. I was thinking about it in terms of Parasite. The reason why I liked Parasite so much, and I thought it was one of the best directing I've ever seen, is the way it starts as a farce comedy, and then by the end, it feels like a whole different genre. But I didn't even notice the volume changing on the film. But in this one, I actually thought up until Zach Woods, the volume was changing at the right pace. It was getting progressively funnier and funnier. And then it was like sometimes funny, sometimes dark. And that's after the Zach Woods scene, that's when I started to feel that the tone was a little off. And I felt like the romance storyline was the biggest problem. That is what felt forced. I felt like it was that character and that romance arc with Jessica Henwick. Her character,
the Asian girl,
felt
right?
Very, very forced. Yeah.
Yeah, she was great.
That to me, it was that storyline that threw the tone off.
Well, that is now that makes sense, but that is also going into, I think we're kind of teetering in between here. And this is the last, I don't want to harp on it too much, but that the conceit of killing the cousin and then being in love with the girlfriend of the cousin. I've seen Glen Powell do that 3 times. This is the 3rd time. With what was the one where he played a bunch of different people?
Yeah, I had a different kind of take on the girlfriend, and to me, it was a mini subplot in that mirrored his whole character arc or whatever. The girlfriend was representing something he wants but he doesn't have, and who has it? His family member, who he's trying to kill all of them to get something that he wants but doesn't have and can't have. And so I thought that their relationship was doomed from the beginning because he's killing people. He's doomed from the beginning. So them not working out is like, him. I thought to me like they were doomed from the start, but then at the end of the movie, he could have just stopped and lived his life with her. He was in a good spot. He's got a job in finance. He's set up, and he's, obviously we don't know about the pictures about him, and he's got to deal with that. But like he could have, if he really wanted just her, if he would have been satisfied, he could have lived the life with her, and he would have had her. He had the apartment. They're gonna get married. Blah blah blah. But I just thought they were always doomed because he was doomed. But then that's why I love the ending so much, because he gets away with it. And it's
agree.
fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I agree. I do think the point of it was he actually was trying to force himself to be that person, but who he is, what happens at the end is what he really is. Cause his mom really kind of put that in him from the beginning.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And so I think they were always setting that up. What I mean by the romance felt forced was I feel like her character, it felt like they were just saying things to try and make you think of her as like the good person. Like, oh, I just want to go and be a teacher and leave my high paying job. No, you don't. I'm a teacher. Like that, I guess her character was just bothering me. I was like, I can't stand with somebody who makes money fantasizes about being broke. Get out of here.
When you say fantasize about being broke, the part that brought me back, and again, like I said, I said I thought it was okay, because when it brought me back at the very end, Glen Powell did something that is like, it's one of my favorite things to see in a comedic performance. And I think it's the key to pulling something off with something like this, and it's contrition. Because he, like, at the very end, when he's in the Rolls Royce and he starts to like look off and get misty eyed, I felt that like he didn't just feel bad about everything that just happened. He was accepting the fact that he's not gonna be a good guy. That voice, that's the other one that I had written down. The only thing that hurts us in life is the voice of our own conscience. He was grieving what he was about to never listen to ever again. And like, I really felt that, and that solidified, that made it really interesting, because like, he felt bad and he's still gonna keep going. Like we're in real time watching him push past the voice of his own conscience. And although it's a comedy, I'm like, that is fucking so hard to do. Jeremy, you're an actor, like, to be able to like play something that there's no lines and you're playing the fully grieving of your own conscience in the middle of a comedy. Like, that's pretty incredible.
Last thing, I just want to talk about that real quick. Last thing I'll say about that is I had a different take on his scene there at the end. And I thought it was just, I guess it's a different take, but the same ending, or a different journey, same destination. I thought he was like, maybe grieving's an interesting way of looking at the guy he's never going to be again, even though maybe he never was that guy. But I thought he was just like the way he sipped the champagne, like he was really like accepting, like, if I really just lean into this obviously bad guy that I am, it's going to be a pretty fun life. That's kind of like the look on his face. But anyways, I have more questions for you guys. Would this have been better as a mini series? Now, I'll preempt that question. I should have said this before. Would it have been better as a mini series? The only reason I asked that is because I loved every character so much. This is truly a great ensemble. And the 6 or 8 episode HBO mini series, you would get to each episode or whatever, you get to dive a little deeper into these family members. So Topher Grace was wildly fun in this movie, and he's in it for what, 3 minutes, 4 minutes? So getting to spend a little more time in his world. So examples like that. Would it have been better in your opinion if it was a mini series? Or did you like it?
I'm gonna say no. I think that we got just enough about it, because for me, it's not a character-driven piece, actually. The characters are there telling you a story and a themology. To me, that was grounded in like the concepts of morality. Like, what does it mean to be good? What does it mean to be bad? Was he actually a bad person for doing what he did? Because at the end, the final, let's call it the final boss of the game was Ed Harris, Whitelaw Renthro, and their conversations, their back and forth was more so grounded in like, he understands like, you're like me. Like, I'm gonna find out if you're really like me. And being like, Whitelaw is saying like, Whitelaw did some disgusting things probably in his own life. That's what I felt like from the in conversations that he was having with Beckett. So that, like, what does it mean to be good? What does it mean to be bad? And I think that it wasn't so much of this story that I at least took away from it that was so interested in the characters, even though they were very interesting. I think I explored enough of it to be able to get an understanding of what I think the director, the creator is trying to say is surrounded around, these concepts of like morality and uh a moral ambiguity sort of sense of like, maybe we need to be a little bit more nuanced in our approach of what's good and what's bad. Like, what happened to Beckett's mom was a tragedy. She was having a baby, and then her dad just like disowned her, and removed her, and she wasn't able to take care of herself as best she could. She wasn't able to take care of her son, who was his own like grandson, or so to speak. Like, and it's so there's these like all these dynamics that are at play here. The pastor, we never really talked about that. But how interesting of that bringing that character into this world, or the mega church pastor, and like what that's like, or the financier, the hedge fund, the head of the hedge fund, what his arc was like. And they were, you, you have all these things that we've seen now, and kind of that's why I like your idea of like it's like a millennial, modern, or contemporary approach of this, because we see all these institutions is such a controversy right now, that I think that the point of this film was much larger than the characters that are presented. So for me, I think that we saw just enough, and hopefully you're able to ground what the perspective is that the director's trying to say, rather than exploring these characters and kind of moving away from the narrative or the themology that is associated with the film.
Yeah, I mean, no, I think that's great.
I don't know, maybe not.
No, like no, that was so
Here's
well
why you're
put.
wrong. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, Jeremy, you're full of shit. No, it's great. Like that is a perfect. I couldn't agree more with that, because it echoes. I mean, it really feels like I was watching this and it made me think of when I was 24 and working for a corporation as a media corporation, and how I remember getting paid less there than I was working at the factory at my dad's plant in Columbus, Ohio. And I was like, how is this a thing? And I remember multiple people had said to me, oh, you have to pay your dues. Like, don't worry about it. And then now, 12 years later, it was nice to feel that I'm not the only one that felt that. And that is a generational thing. And so I really liked that, when I felt like this movie was kind of like someone coming to terms with the fact that they've got to lower their principles a little bit and maybe go get a corporate job when they're an artist. Or like, I think the person who created this movie was like having to accept capitalism into their life that they didn't think they would, to a degree.
As for Brick's question, you talking to the wrong one when it comes to TV series, bro. I have canceled all my streaming services. I am all in on movies. I've started buying DVDs again. Absolutely not better as a mini series. And the reason I'll give is similar to what Jeremy said, but I'm going to go with the angle of, we got to start remembering that less is more sometimes. And too much of these characters starts to make them less and less interesting because they're so off the wall. Like Noah, the artist, like I think the more you see of him, he would probably become less interesting because you would just be in circles with him making jokes and this and that. And I think you just got the perfect dose of him. You got the perfect dose of Ed Harris. Like just that one, because keep in mind, he didn't really know his family, and we never really got to know any of these people either. And that level of detachment, I think, works for this film, because as the audience, we're with him, because like he don't know these people, we don't know these people, so like basically.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree with Justin.
In the end of the day, yeah, no, it was kind of funny, but the pastor, Auntie, we didn't really know you that well, but you with all these collecting the United Nations with children, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm
What
like,
does that even mean?
like, just, I feel like miniseries and TV series, the reason why I kind of been frustrated with them is they just become too much of a soap opera. And to Jeremy's point, this is, I think, not really a character-driven story. It's really a narrative-driven story. And I think because of that, it's better off like finish your story in this little block of time and get out before we're just kind of repeating the same thing. Because I kind of love that they went through the Ants murder quickly and like they weren't just like lingering, because it was like, okay, we get it. He's knocking them off one by one by one. Now let's get to when the story takes a shift, which was his uncle, the one he didn't kill because he had grown an attachment to that.
I think, look, the first 25 minutes were slow. That means the first 3 episodes are going to be slow, and I'm going to not continue to watch it. So
There's no
I
such
would
thing
say,
as slow movies. It's called plot development, Chet.
okay, never mind. Keep it. I don't know. I wouldn't watch it either way.
Okay, well, fuck me.
This is the movie group chat. Sorry, Brick. You found out the hard way.
I
Yeah.
enjoyed the movie.
how you
I
get
just
got.
I thought, you know, given the fact that I was told 8 minutes before we started I needed to come up with questions, I thought that was a good question.
Shit. It was a good question.
It was an
I'm
opportunity
sorry.
for me to
I'll
dunk
take
on TV
responsibility
series.
for that. That's my fault. I apologize.
It was
And
a
by the
good
way, really
opportunity
good
for me
question.
to dunk on
I think
TV
it was a
shows.
good. I think it was a good. I think it was a good question because I think in today's age, I think a lot
That's a
of
fair
people,
question.
the general consumer, is gonna is watching narrative storytelling, is thinking like, how come it's not a miniseries, or how come it's not this, or how come it's not that? And I think that
I feel like this movie was Glen Powell away from being considered or potentially moving to a miniseries. I know that's just me talking. I'm not sourcing that or anything. I'm just saying, like,
I mean, I could
you
see
get
that. Yeah.
you get a movie star like Glen Powell, it's a movie. You know, but so many, you know, in the last decade, 15 years, you know, so many independent filmmakers or indies or smaller budget would have been cool movies got turned into miniseries or whatever.
And I think that's going away. Just look at the box office. You know, I think this is, you know, about to be third quarter of 2026, and the, you know, Obsession just hit $300 million. It's just passed Sinners for the highest grossing original film of the decade. So I think audiences
Highest grossing R-rated original film.
well, fuck me. So
Get it fucking right.
Anyway, no, I just think that audiences are going that way, and I personally feel that way, and I think, but I also want a disclaimer that as an actor, I'm very happy to be in TV series. I'm not completely against them.
I'm gonna take them co-stars from y'all and them guest stars. So praise God. You know,
I would have voted for Obama for a third term.
See real attached.
See real attached.
Thank you for your consideration.
I'd work on White
Lotus. It's not that I don't like movies. Bro, I love, you know, like
white movies.
What I fell in love with was House of Cards. Like, I love miniseries. I don't have an issue with miniseries. I actually like a lot of television shows. I think that there is a space for that now, and I think it's cool that we've kind of evolved television into this world that we're currently in, because I think that there's a lot of good stuff that's on. But I think that I was talking specifically for this film, and the message of this film, I think is so much better suited with every piece of it that they did. Is like they did a good job in being able to articulate what you were trying to say. And I think that it's just more of a themology driven idea rather than just like, let's explore these characters. I think it was cool. And I think it's great that the takeaway is these characters are so interesting that maybe they deserve more time, or we would love to spend more time with them. But I think that that's also the magic of storytelling, because I can think of every single great movie that I've had, and like I'll find a character or two that I would love to spend more time with. I love the idea of it being able to, you know, just live as a movie, and people being able to appreciate the 90 minutes of it and just really take away, like, you know, what did these characters help you understand about what this director is trying to say?
Fair enough. Okay.
Love it. Can we go into the
yeah, because we're you know, we need to kind of move this along. We don't want to hold this up. So
one thing each, or
we'll do the one quick thing. We got the 2 questions
thing?
with Brick, and then we'll do the one quick thing. So Chet, go ahead. What's your one quick thing?
My one quick thing is I think this established the Honda Accord as the quintessential hoopty. Because it showed at the very end, like when the girl
I actually
shows
liked
up
her
with-
Honda Accord. I was like, yo, this is dope. I like this.
No, the Honda Accord, I was like, she showed up with a Honda Accord, and then like as the Honda Accord went away, it was like hiding the Rolls Royce, and I was like, you know what? The Honda Accord is the quintessential hoopty. Like when I think about it, that's what it is, and so it just
Wasn't it a
solidified that.
Civic?
Well, fuck me. I don't know.
Yeah,
Someone
it
else
was
go.
a Civic. You're right. Yeah, I think
I think an Accord is a step up. I think a Civic is the quintessential.
yeah, that's the classy version. She didn't have Accord money. She
I don't
was
even
a
think
Civic
she had.
girl.
I don't even think she had 4 doors. I think she just
Yeah.
had 2 doors.
Yeah, it was a
All right,
hatchback.
all right,
wasn't
Honda
it?
Civic.
It was like a hatchback.
No, it wasn't a hatchback.
No cars like that. I got no
All right.
dog in this fight.
So what's
all
yours,
right, my
Justin?
one quick thing. I'm gonna go to my favorite performance, Margaret. One, her character felt like straight out of film noir, like an F. Scott Fitzgerald novel.
Yeah, that's true.
And as great as she was, her legs deserve an Oscar nomination for supporting actor because I feel like Margaret's legs were really doing the heavy lifting of her performance. This entire movie, I feel like the first 3 scenes, it was just legs, and then like some dialogue maybe happened, but I didn't catch
limb
it.
acting. We call that limb acting.
Wait, do you think that was a choice to kind of shoot her full frame like that to kind of like
So,
because her character is meant to, like
absolutely.
Beckett is
It was-
meant
it was
to be like
intentional.
mesmerized by her. Like he's mesmerized
it was
by her.
intentional.
Like so it's
She's
like,
just like,
it is kind of
So,
meant to,
are you rich now?
you're gonna pull your hamstring. You keep holding that leg up like that.
For those of you that are listening and
my
can't
hip
see,
flexor is jacked up right now. I was like, yo, I
Justin
gotta
just
put
put
this
his
down.
foot up into the
Like,
camera. What about you,
if I
Jeremy?
could-
My one quick thing is I will watch anything Glen Powell does. I think that he is
Like that.
great. I think he is what is
What about
necessary. Okay, so Twisters is not. I don't have an issue with Glen Powell for Twisters. I have a problem with Twisters in comparison. My favorite film, everybody, just so you know, is Twister. So go watch it. Bill Paxton, Helen Hunt, great film. What's his name?
Philip
What's
Seymour
his name?
Hoffman?
Philip Seymour Hoffman. Yeah, I was going to say rest in peace, Philip Seymour Hoffman. Dusty stole the show. My issue is not with Glen Powell. My issue is with a beautiful screenplay that twist it. Good job, Glen Powell. Glen Powell though is a movie star. He is somebody that people need to watch, desire to watch. And I champion for him making more great stuff because we need guys like Glen Powell, to be honest with you, for the film industry to continue to thrive. So
Hangman, bro.
my one quick
That's
thing
Hangman.
is like salute Glen Powell. I think you're amazing, man. Keep doing what you're doing.
Love it. Shout
Okay,
out
so
to
then-
Lee Isaac Chung. I worked with him. He was a really nice guy. He was the director of Twisters. Go ahead, Breck. I just want to say that in case he wants to.
Do
That's
I get a
great.
one quick
That's
thing?
great, bro. That's great.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, Brick. What's your one quick thing?
That was my one quick thing with Glen Powell. What you said basically. So, in summation, I really enjoyed the movie. I'd watch it again, which I did, so it brings it to 3 times. I'm a sucker for I'm a sucker for a catchy tune, so I can get bad songs stuck in my head if they're catchy, And Justin knows this better than anyone after living with me. I'm a sucker for bad movies too. If something, if I can grab a hold of something, I'll sit there and watch it. And so this I don't think was a bad movie. I was grabbing a hold of Glen Powell. You couldn't not cheer for him even though he was doing bad things. I was invested in him. I don't know what to attribute that to, his acting or the character itself, whatever. I was invested in Beckett's journey and I loved Glen Powell in this movie. So like I said earlier, I'd watch anything he's in. So
And we would watch any podcast that you are in. We missed you, Brick.
We
Thank
miss
you,
you,
Brick.
Brick.
Shout out to Brick.
Welcome back, Aaron Brick.
Hey,
we'll do this. We'll do
Okay,
this
Jeremy,
again in
I have-
October.
I have the next movie for you guys. It wasn't going to be my pick. My pick will be the following week. But we have a selection from a fan of the show, Kenny Chang, and the movie is Pretty Woman. We will be watching this week, guys. So, Pretty Woman.
I'm sorry.
Came out in 1990. Hold on.
I've never seen Pretty Woman,
Director is Gary Marshall. Writer is J.F. Lofton. The stars, Richard Gere, the one, the only Julia Roberts, Jason Alexander. This film is a corporate raider hires a hooker to act as a business escort in Beverly Hills, California. This is a great film. I'm super excited for this film. It's on Netflix, so make sure you guys are watching it, and we'll talk about it next Monday. Kenny is going to be a guest on the show, and he'll be able to talk to us about the film.
No way.
Yes. I'm glad I was able to surprise you guys with that one.
I'm excited. I've never actually seen this. This is a hole in my
Pretty
cinephile
Woman?
list, so I'm glad.
You've never seen Pretty Woman?
Okay.
There's
all right.
there's
Well,
some
we'll
holes.
get to
There's
it.
some holes. All right. I've never seen
There's
Bambi.
some holes.
Let's
That's
just get
the
this
thing.
out of the way.
So, but I will end on my only ask is that when Kenny comes on, please, no Interstellar talk. There's been 15 times that Justin and Kenny
I can't guarantee
have
that.
argued about.
I'm a Nolan stan.
Please, like at the party on Saturday, it was till 3 a.m. People were kicking him out because of the Interstellar talk. So that's all I ask, because I can't take it.
I will not back down to Christopher Nolan's slander as the high priest of the Christopher Nolan cult. When Christopher Nolan is slandered, I will raise up like Oberyn the Red Viper to be his champion. Period.
Thank you for listening and watching Movie Group Chat. See you next week.
Thank you, guys.
Movie Group Chat, is that the name?
Movie Group
Yes,
Chat.
sir.
Did it change?
We had to change. We'll talk about that off air. Thank you, guys. We'll appreciate you guys. Appreciate you. Watch more movies.